21. And that's how we start our show. You Give Me Joy. And the title of the song is Joy by Vishwan Mitchell, our favorite here in South Africa. He always comes, and he recorded that album here in South Africa, Johannesburg. So thank you so much for tuning in. You can go and like and share our page on Facebook. It is Agape FM. And I'm so excited that I'm going to be spending the next 3 hours with you, and you can tell me what you're about and what you're doing this afternoon. So let's get straight into it. You know that the first hour of Midday Talk with the Luzuko, what we do, we get people like yourself, or people that you want to be like, if I may say. They come and share their amazing, incredible stories with us here on Agape, and I believe that our lives are slowly changing. You know, we are being challenged, we're being affected, even our reasoning is changing because these stories are different, and in all these stories there's something that we can definitely take in our lives. And I want to tell you something this morning, that before I start, you are not perfect, but just know one thing: you are loved. In your imperfection, you are loved. That's what I want to tell you this afternoon. I said morning, yes, but this afternoon. So this afternoon I am joined, so honored, I'm so excited. I am joined by, I'm just going to give a quick background. I'm joined by Dr. Tanaka Mugabe, a mother of two, married and residing in Port Elizabeth. Professionally, she has been working in the academic space for the past 10 years. She is currently working at the South African International Maritime Institute as a project coordinator and researcher. In addition, she is a scholar who also assists with the supervision of postgraduate students. She has an LLB degree and a master's in social science degree from the University of Fort Hare. Recently, which was December 2020, she graduated with a PhD in Sociology from the Nelson Mandela University. She has written a number of government-commissioned reports, research articles, and draft papers. She has also served in the South African Sociological Association for 2 consecutive years as a council member. In addition, Dr. Tanaka, I can't just say it. Doc has participated in various boards and committees as an advisor. Last but not least, she is a devout Christian who hopes to use her God-given talents to the glory of God. And I must mention that she went to St. Dominic's High School.
Yes.
Which is a fancy school. When I researched, I was like, okay.
I don't know about fancy, but a Christian school,
Okay.
a Catholic Christian school it is.
Awesome.
Yes, yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Sorry, welcome on Agape FM.
Thank you for having me, and thank you to your listeners for listening to my story or whatever I'll be sharing to
with
today.
us
Yes,
today.
so thank you for having me. I'm more humble than anything.
Awesome. If you can, take us back to when do you realize that education is important in your life?
To be honest, I think I'm Zimbabwean. I'll put it there. Being raised in a country that upholds education, it naturally becomes like, the same thing, like, you need food. So it's like you need an education. So I must actually give credit to the country I come from. There is that culture of education that's embedded in everybody, whether you're coming from the rural areas. Like, even if you look at my research, it was really coming from that mind frame of how do we create a same social influence for South African youth, for them, whether employed or unemployed, they still are able to, push in life and still be social conscious human beings that are positive and that can, do more for themselves than just, being employed. So I think that's the space that I was coming from, that no matter where you, like Zim, it's like whether it was really academic more, but it was more of, I want to strive and just, provide for family. I want to provide for, my
Yes.
parents and so forth. So, yeah.
I was having a conversation with someone earlier, and I said to the person, this is my theory. May his soul rest in peace. President Robert Mugabe, he is one of the most educated presidents in the world. The truth
Truth, yeah, that's true.
And I was like, because I've encountered a lot of people coming from Zimbabwe, and the level of intelligence, I'm like, I don't even compete. You run.
No, we
I'll
must,
do my thing. And me trying to make sense of it, I'm like, whether you know, he does sort of have some sort of influence in you wanting to pursue education and want to get that education. Am I correct or incorrect in assuming or thinking that he does have, whether you know it or you don't, because he studied, he's one of the well-educated presidents ever in the world. So there's that thing of, let me study, let me get my master's, let me get my PhD.
No, that's true. It's also, he definitely had an influence. And also, just looking at the fact that, a lot of females are not always able to push through life. So I think I also challenged myself, although I had all this influence. Besides him, also like my grandparents, they were both from my paternal and maternal side. Both my grandmothers were very educated women, and they had to resist, family dynamics, especially from my maternal side. My grandmother was a teacher, and she was even shunned upon that, you're an embarrassment because women were not supposed to be that educated. And my grandmother from my paternal side was even worse. She was even a member of parliament. She studied across the world, like your Paris, your London, and even African states in Mozambique and South Africa. So she had a huge CV, not necessarily doctorate, but then I was looking at them. I'm like, I'm coming from a lineage of such strong women, so I must contribute. I can't relax.
There's no way I can relax.
Yeah, but it's also just the change in society that you also want to, contribute more in terms of the passion that I had. So as you can see, my first degree was a law degree, and people ask me, why did you not become a lawyer? I'm like, at a certain point in time, I realized I wanted to do something more social, something more close to the people, and feel like, I can make an impact. So that's why I changed to social sciences and majored in sociology.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who makes you comfortable? Because you say that women were not allowed to pursue education. Who makes you, yes, you are watching at your grandmother, but who makes you comfortable in terms of conversations back at home to make you feel like I can do this thing? I can actually make it work and I can make it in life.
Honestly, not so much in words. My strong point are actually both my parents. My mom more on the point of, she believes in me and very supportive. So I think she's my rock. I always call her, she holds me through life. But also, funny enough, my dad, we argue, but then he gives me that space and he challenges me. Like, a few years back, he's like, this PhD that doesn't finish. And I'm like, what? I'm going to show you. So you see, and even in just general conversations about the things that they believe in, their philosophy in life, I think that's what encouraged me as well in terms of pursuing my studies. Yeah.
I was going to mention this later on, but since you mentioned your mom, you wrote something to say thank you to her. I want to read it so that the listeners can get to know what you said.
Oh, wow. Okay.
When you got your PhD.
Yeah.
You said, I truly appreciate every congratulatory message. I feel truly blessed. Thank you for making me feel great about this milestone. So you were talking to the people that said, congratulations on your PhD. And then you said, I just want to acknowledge the angel who walked through life with me, through thick and thin. My mother, and then you mentioned her name. You say, what? Okay, yeah. I'm lost for words. Her love and support amaze me. This accomplishment is all her, from emotional, financial, and spiritual support. Ndotenda mama.
Thank you, mommy.
Yes. When you get these things, do you always you can't not but recognize the efforts and everything that she has done for you?
Yeah, it felt like, no, I can't. Even my master's, I dedicated it to her. I think, when everything was happening around my life, everyone, most people thought I would fail. But she struggled to even offer even financial support for me, and I was amazed. I was like, okay, everything else around me is telling me I can't do it, but she's telling me that you still want to do it. Okay, I'll do what I can. I'll get into debt for you. I will borrow from left, right, and center. I'll look for opportunities for you. I mean, I even want to cry when I think about it. I'm like, wow, this woman, why is she like this? I've never experienced. I know she's my mother, but I'm not even entitled to her doing that. I'm a grown person with her own kids, but then still, she's never being stopped, like, holding me through life.
She's never tired.
She's never tired, and I just wanted, hopefully she gets to a point whereby, I get to look after her as much as she has. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's the one thing that she taught you, without words, that you want to pass on to your kids?
You know what? Prayer. I think she taught me to pray more. Like, every time, I remember the first time, her and my aunt, when I left for university, we had an hour prayer session. But when you're still younger, coming to university, as much as you're a Christian, you're not as grounded. And they sang a song that my late grandmother used to sing. It's called Marimba Tsiriwedu. And I never used to connect to that song. It just says, God is my helper. And through years and years to come and so forth. And it's such a powerful song. But I never really understood that song up until recently in my older years. I'm like, oh, wow, what a powerful song. I would just engage in the moment because I'm traveling to university. Like, I'm praying with my parents. But now it's they call it our national anthem, our family anthem.
Okay.
So we've got a family anthem. So whenever anything is troubling us, whenever anything is good, we're celebrating anything, we sing that song. So I think that's one thing that I think she's grounded me on, just to focus on
prayer.
Yeah.
Okay, what I want to find out as well, because you are studying and you're getting all these qualifications, A student, you're doing all the things.
Sorry, A.
but you're pushing through, making it work.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's difficult for people to balance with faith.
Yeah.
Because you study, so you might think, this is me. This degree, this master's, this PhD, it's me. Because I didn't sleep, I pushed through, my mom borrowed money, and that can make you forsake the God factor in whatever that you're acquiring. So how did you make sure that you never forget that whatever it is that I'm getting, the PhD, the ability to work for Maritime, South African Maritime Institute, it's God. Above and beyond whatever that I'm getting in this life, I have to attribute it and say that, God, this is you.
Okay, I'm going to be very honest with you. As Christians, we tend to not... we tend to relax at times with our faith, and we focus more on... I came to a time where I was focused on my problems. I'm not even going to lie. I just thought my problems were bigger than me, or maybe even bigger than God. I just focused on saying, okay, maybe I need to fight. I used to fight so much with myself, and almost like, have an arrogance of like thinking the strength was mine. And only now do I look back and say, wait a minute, but that was actually God. I'll tell you, from the work environment that I'm in, my current boss, our CEO, he's a very faithful guy. Like he's a Christian, and he's very grounded. And there are times when I would fall, and if it was any other boss, he would tell you, work has to be done. And he will tell me, you know what? And it's interesting that you mentioned it, that this is not life. He said to me like a couple of years, like in 2018, I think because I'd failed to submit, he says to me, Tanaka, your problem is you've put everything of your life in this. It's as if everything starts and ends with this PhD. There's more to life. So,
is that the person who said it? Is it friends?
No, that's my supervisor. I'll get to him. That's Mr. Odwa Mutachi. He's the CEO of SAIMI. He's like, the problem is, but life is more than just, focusing on this. And then I was like, okay. And also they were supportive. They gave me the space to study, and also I still had, a job to balance life. But I was a very troubled person during those years because I was so focusing on this, PhD. And I think I didn't just surrender everything to God. I'll be honest. You just focus so much on the problem. You don't even realize it.
That's the struggle.
You don't even realize it. Up until you don't have a choice, you don't have anything. Then you say, "What, God, I'm tired.
I'm exhausted.
I am exhausted." And I had a friend as well in Zimbabwe. She would tell me, "Have you surrendered everything to Jesus? Are you reading your Bible?" I'm like, yeah, I'm reading. And I wasn't reading my Bible.
I'm reading a book.
Are you praying? Yeah, I'm praying. What does she mean? Like, I would feel offended, very defensive. As Christian, we feel
especially
very
when
defensive.
you're not doing something.
Especially, like, yes, I'm a Christian, I'm praying. What do you mean I'm not praying?
What do you mean?
What do you mean I'm not talking to God? What do you mean, actually? We become so defensive up until everything is broken inside you. Within you, everything just has to break for you to actually eventually realize, like, now I am so scared of losing it. I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose my faith. I don't want to lose God in my life. And so, such that, there's a book I'm reading, but I'll talk to it later. So I just had to, I think I had to fall very hard. I had to fall hard. I had to fail at so many things. I had to struggle. But it was refining me so that, even when this moment comes, I still have the humility to say, it's all God, it's not me. And when I look back, even you spoke about Franz Bizet, my supervisor, he's a God-fearing man. Imagine my road. Can you see? From my boss to my supervisor. He is such a brilliant academic and professor as well, and including Prof. Tobana, my co-supervisor. So with Prof. Bizet, he'd be very hard on me. Like, he didn't give me slack. Like, but what are you doing? What are you writing? And I'm like, I'm sorry, Tanaka, I have to do this to you because, I need you to do the right thing. And at the end of the day, if he knows that, he could see that, okay, I'm really down, then he would encourage me. He would send me scripture. He would, not all the time, but here and there, because he said, I don't want to be, he told me at the end, I didn't want to be too soft on you or too understanding of your plight because I wanted you to finish and I wanted you to do a proper job. But still, I could, his advice, and if he did speak, he was always leaning on, on the faith. As much as I was just listening and saying, yeah, I'm a Christian, but, the active faith was dead inside me.
The self was more.
The self was more. It was like, I need to achieve this, but I never defined it. Achieve it for what? It was just for me. So now, if people get surprised, like when I got it, I was like even nervous. I'm like, okay, how do I celebrate?
What's the caption?
What do I even say? Do I overuse it? And then some people are like, but you are. And like, yes, I achieved it. But I think it has humbled me more than anything, getting into than anything, yeah.
And I think, Doc, your blessing has been your surroundings.
Yes.
God blessed you with people that are going to fin and kind of like, come this way, don't forget, move this. And it's really and indeed a blessing. So also what I love things that you mentioned is the failure. Because when we see a PhD, we're like, you killed it. And we think it was smooth and it was a nice ride. And we forget that it was sleepless nights. There were tears. There were days that you were like, this thing is not for me. Let me just work. I have a master's degree. What else am I looking for? So when you mention that, there was failure in it. And it's important even for our listeners, because when we see people like you, we admire and we're like, we are in awe. It's like, she's a doctor, she looks very young. So it's important that when we want to become like you, we know that the road is not going to be smooth.
It might be smooth for others, I won't say, but then even if it's not, I mean, if something is pushing you that this is your path, this is what you want to do, no matter your age or circumstance, I think, don't make the mistakes I made of leaning on my own strength. Just always just put everything to God and ask Him to lead the process and to just, to usher you through. I remember I started a hymn for myself every morning. In my last year, I was like, no, God, you're going to see me through this, and I'm just putting it all in your hands. It's not by my side, my might, but by your might. So I just had to surrender that, no, can't do this without God. And so much happened, you know. You won't believe, in my final years, I didn't have the financial means to pay fees because I had gone overtime, and I didn't have the financial means. And my thesis couldn't be marked without it.
Sure.
So it was like blocking everywhere. I was tired, I was frustrated, I was crying, but then I got to a point of just being happy when it happened. Before, I had same issues, but then when I realized, you know what, if God has planned it for your life, no matter who does what or does this and that, you will still succeed. And I started attending a church in Zimbabwe as well. And it actually helped me. There's a church I attend here in PE, but like I've got two. I've got the home one and here.
Is it Home of Faith?
House of Prayer.
House of Prayer.
Of
House
all
of Prayer.
nations. And like just listening to the teaching of the prophetess there, Dr. Bula Machiri. She's also a PhD, and you know, a prophetess of God. So I was like, okay, there we go. It's possible. It's possible. Who said? You know. So I was quite humbled in her teachings. And one of her teachings that caught me was like, you know what? The way we act like we are defeated, Jesus already paid it all. And even when we're afraid of the evils that we fight, it's not even anything close to what God can do, you know. So I've found a lot of guidance as well as a lot of, like, you know, building my faith through her sharing, and I think it's really helped me. It's been one of those things that you know, woke me up, because she says I'm not apologetic, I'm not here to entertain, I'm here to she's gonna say, you know, I'm here to liberate. So so you confront all your shortfalls, your shortcomings. You're forced to look at you know, the things that you don't do as a Christian, to say, okay, how many times do I actually read the Bible? Someone actually said, you know, it's interesting how we function as Christians. We don't read the Bible, but we pray, right? But the only way God talks to us is through the Bible.
Reading.
Imagine being in a relationship with one person that talks all the time.
Yeah.
You are the one who's talking. So constantly you're praying to God, you're talking, but you're not listening to Him. You're not giving Him a space to talk to you. Back to you.
And
so
the answers are there most of the time.
answers are there, and you look at it and like, okay. So even as you grow in your faith, you start reading and understanding Scripture differently. So yeah. So I think
people will kill me if I don't ask you, because that you said she's a doctor. She's doctor of what, Luzuko? You didn't ask.
So I didn't check, but I think she's also in social sciences, and we speak more on the gospel. I honestly don't want to lie, but then I am sure that I would. Me, as in me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant her.
No.
Oh, sorry, I'm a doctor in sociology. Yeah.
So what does it mean?
Oh, sociology. Oh, okay. It's a social science that really just studies society. Yeah, but more of people in society, and trying to understand the different, you know, dynamics and challenges that, you know, society faces. So yeah, it's just really, I can think, if I can put it in the most simplest term, is the study of society. And it helps us to understand how we can even better ourselves as people in different areas of society. Society. Look at it as in psychology of a group of people.
Yeah,
psychology is an individual, sociology is society. Psi, one, so type of thing.
Makes sense.
Yes. Yeah.
It makes so much sense. And you said that you're going to mention a book that you are reading.
Yeah, like, you know, your Christian faith, I think you go on different journeys. And something just made me think of the book of, I actually thought, thinking about, will I ever have another child? I'm like, nah, I don't think I'm ready. But if I ever do, I don't know where it came from. I would want his name to be Malachi. But I was like, but I've never really read the book of Malachi. And when I started reading the book of Malachi, it was as if it was the first line in the book of Malachi was, I have loved you, says the Lord, yet you say, in what way have you loved us? I mean, just that statement, it's just even made me humble, like, yeah. It's starting now to come back, yeah, you know, and then it goes on and on. So I think, because my kids start with M, so I was like, I still want, if I have another child, I would want the child to start with M. Would I? I'm not sure. Let's see what God has in
In
store.
celebration of the PhD, like, Doc, here's Malachi to celebrate.
Maybe the doctorate is Malachi. We don't know. The messenger of God. Like, even the meaning is the messenger of God. So I think it's got so much truth. And it says it's one of the last 12 books of the Old Testament. So I'm just trying to, I'm just reading. I don't know why my spirit led me to read it.
Was it during the pandemic in 2020?
It's just recently, last week. I'm like, you read verses in a book, you hear, but then you've never really started the
entire chapter.
Book. I've never read it from start to end.
For me, it was the book of Isaiah, and I've not started. Because I was like, Jesus,
know.
don't come back until I read the book of Isaiah. Because
Exactly.
when I get in heaven, I'm like, did you read Hosea? I'm like, no.
But I told you to read Hosea. I know, but it's never too late, I think we try to be too much as like we try to cover ourselves and make ourselves as if we know everything. But if you don't know, you just say, I actually don't know. And let me go and learn. Yeah.
That has weight when it comes from you. Because when someone says that we don't know, you're like, yes, we are. But from someone in your caliber, when a doctor with a PhD says that we don't know anything, it carries a certain weight. And one last thing that I want to ask from you, you took from Zimbabwe, from your both grandparents, from maternal, paternal, from your mother, from your father, from the community, came, like in all your life, you're taking from doctor, the prophetess, the church that you're attending back at home in Zimbabwe. So it's like you're constantly learning and getting information and grasping things, how people behave and things like that. So when we look at your life, what do you want us to take from your life?
I think, God help me. Help me to say something that makes sense. I don't know, because at times, I just think I'm a very simple human being. I don't know if there's anything to take, but all I can say is just love who you are, but most of all, love who you are in God. Like, find yourself in God and who that person is, and love that person. Don't try to be someone else. Allow God to reveal what He intended you to be. Allow Him to blossom you as the flower that He Himself knows how it should be. I mean, don't look around you and say, I want to be like this person. Yeah, we can admire people's, accomplishments, people's like way of life, but ask God to mold you in a way that you imagine yourself to be. Look in within yourself and look for that beauty you'd want to show out, that is filled with God's love and purpose. So I think that's my prayer for myself, that I'm continuing to make, and I would want, like, people, if we could live in the beauty and want of what God created us to be, I think we'd live in a different society. Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. And I believe that you are living in that beauty.
I hope so.
And you're working on that as well. I want to apologize to the listeners, because there are a lot of people that said that they're going to tune in, and I didn't give them a chance to ask questions. I'm sorry. She's going to come back again. We're going to have another session, and then we'll ask those questions for you. But I want... Maybe
I can take one.
Yes, we can try. Please do send your questions on our Facebook page. Facebook page. It is Agape FM on Facebook, or you can WhatsApp your question on our WhatsApp number. Our WhatsApp number is 067 9944 546. 067 9944 546. Maybe it's not a question, but it's a comment, a shout out. She's your girl. You can send it through on our WhatsApp number. That is 067 9944 546. 067 9944 546. As we await for the questions, how are you approaching 2021? 2020 was a special one, but what's your approach in this new year?
I think everyone should approach it with hope and faith. We walk by faith. So plan great things and then just give it to God. I know we are we are surviving in very difficult times. A lot of people have lost people to COVID, and a lot of people are getting affected and infected with COVID, and we can't be ignorant to that. And when we can, we should give a helping hand, and know that so many families have been even affected financially. And let's not wait to be asked. Let's give where we see there is need, and I think that's the message for 2021. Let's not wait till someone dies or till someone suffers so much that they go hungry, the kids go hungry, that we say, why didn't they ask? Let's look for opportunities to help where we can.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much, Doc, for your time.
Thank you.
I'm still waiting, but they are not coming. Maybe by the time they come, I don't know. But I want to say thank you and a big God bless you. More of such amazing milestones in your life.
No, thank you for having me, and thank you to your listeners for giving me a chance to share as much as I could. And I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Awesome.
God bless you.
That's what we do. Midday Talk with the Losers.